2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 13. Go and ye shall receive. Pray for a few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom of heaven is already prepared for you. Watch. All praises to our power. Yahawah, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Bahasham, Qadash. Double honor to our elder apostles and elder bishops of that millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. We are entering into paradise, brothers. We are entering into paradise by way of Yahawashi. Yahawashi, he's the door, brothers. And he has paradise prepared for us. Glory, eternal glory, infinite honor and glory beyond our imagination, beyond our comprehension. As it tells us in the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 64, verse 4, for since the beginning of the world, men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither have the eye seen, O power besides thee, what he hath prepared for them that love him, that waited for him. Okay? And as you beloved of the Lord, the house of David, you hopeful elect out there, man. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly, above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. The kingdom of heaven is beyond anything we could ever imagine.
Isaiah 45. Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him. And I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two lead gates, and the gates shall not be shut. I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of brass, and cut in sunder the bars of iron. And I will give thee the treasures of darkness, and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, the Lord, would call thee by thy name, and the God of Israel. For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name, I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is none else.
Rawchaa, Yahawashi, Rawchaa, Yahawah, Rawchaa, Yahawah, Rawchaa, Yahawashi.
Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, and the foreign Israelites that look like the other nations scattered across the four corners of the earth. I want to give all praises to Barak, Yahawah, Barak, Yahawashi, Barak, Yahawah, Barak, Yahawashi. Got to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone led me to this truth, and been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the elect and to the hopeful elect. Lord, wouldn't we part of that number? Lord, wouldn't this be edifying to those who fear the name of the Lord and striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities? His judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5, it is not slack. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9 is unto a ring. 2 chapter 5, verse 42. So to water for everybody who comes on the common board here and after, Yahawashi, Barak, Atham. And we're going to go deal with some things. I actually had a video that I wanted to do last night, but Lord kind of put the spirit on me to just, focus on the warning aspect of it, so I'm gonna leave it out for now. You know, it had to do with, you know, breaking down another lesson concerning you know, some nursery rhymes and whatnot, but we want to stick on topic and kind of, you know, stay with what the rest of the body is doing, you know, and we're all warning of the destruction coming, you know. So that's really what the main thing that we want to focus on, and anything that revolves around that, you know. All the elders and apostles, they have the majority of the breakdowns and stuff. Those are the ones that you want to go to really get a clear understanding of the scriptures in its fullness. So, you know, I just want to stick to, you know, what the Lord put me in to do is to, you know, I believe is to come and, you know, put certain things out there to show the movement that the Lord is doing in the earth. So Lord willing, this edifying to the flock. I'm going to start with 100 dead, 150 hurt, and fire Iraqi reception. Russia warns Ukraine surrender or perish, and then various end time topics. So Lord willing, this edifying to the flock. Go ahead and get right into it. So we're going to get over here. Go ahead and start with this. It says this was not a wedding. This was hell. More than 100 dead, 150 hurt at fire in Iraqi reception. So at least 100 people dead, 150 more injured in a wedding reception in northern Iraq Tuesday after massive fire broke out, possibly caused by fireworks. Officials in the Middle Eastern country said the blaze took place at a wedding hall in Hamdaniya district and in the Nevaeh plain. Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani confirmed in a post on X the scene was located outside the city of Mosul, about 200 miles northwest of the capital of Baghdad. So it was a lot of death. You know, the Lord has put us on earth, and He is causing people who have this idea of they're just about to have a grand time and a great time over here in the four corners of the earth in America, Babylon the Great. The Lord is causing destruction to come upon those who think that this is just some time to be partying and being married and wedding and, you know, and all having fun. Okay, the Lord is showing, you know, the elect, whomever they are out there, that this is not the time to be in a sense of trying to enjoy this life. We're trying to go home. So I want to put in some precepts concerning this, and then we're going to move forward. This is James chapter 4, verse 14. All right. And it reads, whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life is even a vapor that appear for a little time, then vanisheth away. So you got people who making these plans in their lives to do certain things, and the Lord tells us not to do that because we don't even know if we're going to be here tomorrow, especially with us defending this truth. And it's coming more and more that you know, it's coming closer to that time to where a lot of us are going to be persecuted. A lot of us are going to certain things are going to happen to us, and we're going to want to be prepared to keep the faith through those tough times. You know, this is a mass judgment that the Lord bring out on these people, man, because they didn't want to worship Yahawashi. And of course, Jake was in there. Okay, they might just not known they was Jake, whatnot, but the Lord is not coming after the heathens like He is 2/3. He's coming after Jake first, you know, and He's judging the house of Israel first. Okay, it actually first with the believers. So, the ones that know they're Israelites. So, he's also judging 2/3 as well. But we've seen mass judgment go out on both sides, to the people who know they're in the truth and the people who are not in the truth, who are Israelites and do not know. The Lord is bringing mass judgment out. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. Them 100 people there didn't know they was going to be gone, man. And that's what I was saying yesterday. There's people out here standing out here today, and a lot of them ain't going to be here tomorrow. You see? A lot of people ain't going to be here tomorrow that's out here walking around today. And that's the Lord bringing this judgment to light. So cometh upon them as travail upon women with child, and they shall not escape. And they didn't escape. 150 of them did, but the Lord, got whoever he wanted to get in there, that he ordained to perish in that fire, man. In America, Babylon the Great is going to be a mass scale of that, man. A lot of people are going to get burned up in those intercontinental ballistic missiles. Proverbs chapter 1 verse 26, and it reads, I will also laugh at your calamity. So the Lord ain't feeling sorry for them people, man. He's not feeling sorry for them. They didn't want to come back to the ways of Bahasham. He ain't gonna feel bad when 2/3 get put to death either. I'm not saying that we just in a sense where when this kind of stuff happen, we just laughing at it. We more in fear of the Lord. But he's saying that he's gonna laugh at your calamity. He's not gonna feel sorry for you if you're not trusting in the Lord and fearing the Lord. I will mock when your fear cometh. See? And that's what he does. Lord mocks people who don't think that this is a game. Verse 27, when your fear cometh as a desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you. See? And we know that's just coming. In the Esau Edom, that whirlwind can also represent the chariots coming and zapping his ass out of here. There's many different ways that the Lord's going to bring swift judgment on his heathens, man, and 2/3 of our people. This is Ecclesiastes. And you got some people who are they have this mindset of, oh, well, we're preaching genocide. Well, didn't the Lord not flood the whole earth? The Lord's not playing, man. The Lord will destroy everything on the planet if he got to, man. We're here to tell you really what he finna do. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 10 towards 12, Salakia. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net. You see, so just like fishes in the ocean, they don't know that they're gonna get caught up. They just swimming around being fish. That's how these people look like. They're just like fish swimming around until the Lord take them out, man. And as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time. What's that evil time coming? Jacob's trouble, when it falleth suddenly upon them. Okay, but we seeing that evil time come upon people before Jacob's trouble. So how much more when Jacob's trouble comes? Okay, it's gonna catch them off guard, and we don't want to be caught off guard, man. So we're watching over here. So we see that these people got caught off guard. They got all burned up. What else is going on? Russia says they're going to warn Ukraine, surrender or perish. That's the mindset that the Medes, the Russians, the Bible, the bear, these people are not in a mood of surrender. Okay? They're like, you're going to surrender or we're going to shoot missiles at your ass. It's going to go down. So a Russian official dropped a dire warning as the Ukraine war drags on, and why everyone is buzzing about a certain blonde superstar, a certain blonde superstar at a football game Sunday. All right, whatever. They're doing whatever. Let's get back to what actually is going on. A dire warning from Russian official as the Ukraine war, and that kind of makes sense, Like, while everybody else is talking about some damn bullshit, okay, this is what's going on, man. So as the Ukraine war drags into the 20th month, no resolution inside. A top Russian official had some ominous words for Ukraine, warning that it must surrender on Moscow's turn or the country will cease to exist. What is that talking about? How is that going to happen? Intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. All right? They telling you this on live TV. Your ass will be obliterated from the earth. Right? So, Vyacheslav, I don't know how to say his name, Volodin, Speaker of Russia's lower house of parliament, said President Joe Biden / NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg and other Western leaders have poured time, effort, money, and military might into the war, but have made little headway. Ukraine and Western leaders claim steady progress in a counteroffensive, and Biden has been all in behind Ukraine, but some Republicans in Congress have waffled on spending plans for the war, and Americans' public support has softened. So it's, they starting to be like, we don't want to be part of this, but it's too late. America Babylon the Great is part of this, and they're going to be involved. So Russia is really sending a warning also to America Babylon the Great. Why? Because they're the ones who funneling their money in there. Okay? And all this time, America Babylon the Great's like, we don't want to keep getting money to them because we're about to have to go to war with China and Taiwan. And who's with China? Russia. This is going to be a world war, man. It's going to be World War III coming in this thing. Armageddon. The last war. Just like they've been saying. And I seen an article trying to come out with all this different stuff. Russia, that just might be a Ukrainian term that this is the last war. No, there ain't no Ukrainian Bible. There ain't no Russian Bible. Okay, there's no Edomite Bible. The only Bible is the Holy Bible of the Hebrew Israelites. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, man. It's our book. Now we're gonna go over here before we start reading some precepts. It says Russians ready for direct conflict with NATO. Putin ally claims. They said they're ready. Okay? They're ready. And that's him right here saying it. Let's see if we can watch it. Oh, it ain't gonna be nobody talking. But he's saying they ready. But he said that on September 26th. He said that yesterday. They're ready. Okay, and all these other nations haven't even became a guard unto them. So how much more when they all actually come and aid Russia? And they might even already been talking behind the doors that they're going to. Okay, so this is why they're saying they're ready. So it says Russia may be prepared to engage in a direct conflict with NATO member states. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev suggested on Tuesday in a post on his Telegram channel. This guy, who deputy chairman Russia's Security Council, criticized the supply of weapons to Ukraine by its Western allies, suggesting a war could break out over deliveries of Abrams tanks, and those just came over there. They just finally got there, okay, to Ukraine, and the potential supply of long-range missiles to Ukraine. That's all recent. Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky said on Monday that the first U.S.-made Abrams tanks have arrived in Ukraine, so that's 2 days ago. Washington has pledged to provide Kyiv with 31 of the vehicles. The Kremlin has repeatedly accused NATO allies of becoming involved in the conflict by sending Ukrainians, providing its troops with training and assisting with military intelligence. But we know what? Poland already like, we're not helping you no more. So that division has begun. That we see that those 10 crowns, those 10 NATO European Union nations, they're starting to dismember and dislike the West, and they're showing it publicly that we're not getting down with your little, oh, let's protect Ukraine mindset. That stuff is going to be over, pretty soon. So we're seeing that dismember. And while that's happening, Russia's like saying, like, we ain't even got everybody on our side yet, and we're ready. Okay, so we're going to pull up some precepts about this stuff, and then we're going to move on. Oh, I got to click off of it so I can get better. You know, got a lot of tabs up. It'll run slow. Runs a lot faster without them. I thought I'd get done reading them. So this is stuff that I've bring up before. Revelation. You know, this is the stuff that's going on. We're going to get to that next. Bear with me. Revelation chapter 9 verse 12. And it reads, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. And we're in the middle of that third woe, at the beginning of that third woe. You know? And the Lord was so specific about it, he mentioned it twice. Revelation chapter 11 verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And it's coming real quick. And Russia's saying they're ready. Okay? They're saying we're ready to go against NATO, but we're going to know that really who they shooting shots at is America, Babylon the Great. They're saying, if you don't get down with us, then we're going to fight y'all too. Okay? But we're going to look at this. We know that these other nations are going to join with Russia because when you look over here, okay? And we're going to show that they're going to turn on America, Babylon the Great, and they're going to destroy this place. Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. And when he's talking about who he's going to turn back, he's talking about Russia. That's who he's talking about. Okay, the Medes. That's who he's talking about. That's why I said in another scripture in Isaiah, I will stir up the Medes, and they shall not regard gold or silver. Okay, that's them. And he's giving them that Soviet Union wicked spirit right now. And it says Persia, which is Iran. Then you got Ethiopia, Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet. Okay, and we just know in Libya there was a big, a gigantic flood, killed a lot of people, man. And they know that. And what is America, Babylon the Great doing for them? Nothing. Who do you think they're going to join? They're going to go join Russia. Verse 6, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar and the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. It's going to be everybody with them. Verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. See? So they're going to come aid Russia. That's what's going to happen. Okay, after many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years, the end, thou shalt come into a land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have always been waste. Why they're waste? Because them heathens are over there, the Amalek, basically the ones who are claiming to be Israelites right now, the first descendants of Esau, they're Edomites. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. That's talking about the elect is going to dwell safely at the bottom of that. Then thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, and thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy lands, and all thy bands, and many people with thee. And this is where you're going to see that they're going to have this thought to destroy America, Babylon the Great. Verse 10, thus saith the Lord Yahawashi, it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. See, no, I don't want to go too far. But that evil thought is going to be sending those intercontinental ballistic missiles over here to America, Babylon the Great. Now, when you look over here in Obadiah, this is also the precept to that. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 7. It reads, all the men of thy confederacy. And what's that confederacy? When you look in Psalms 83, it talks about the confederacy that these nations came up together. All these other 17 nations came up against Israel to keep them out of remembrance of the truth. Okay, that's that confederacy is talking about. Have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee. Who's that? The NATO allies. Have deceived thee. Talking about they deceived America, Babylon the Great. And prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in him. And when it says there's that none understanding in him, it's basically saying America, Babylon the Great's not going to even know it. They're going to get caught off guard. Okay? They're going to get caught lacking, man. That's what's going to happen. And when you go read it in the NLT, it breaks it down a little bit more. But I've done that before, so I'm just going to keep moving real quick. Matthew chapter 24, verse 20. And it reads, this is Yahawashi speaking, pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, on the Shabbats, right? For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. What's that time? Jacob's trouble. No, nor never ever shall be. And that's why you got Vladimir Zelensky coming out and talking about the last war, because this is going to be a time, and there's never going to be a time like it. This is the end, man. This is the end of these kingdoms. So while that's all going on, we got right here, these Edomites is terrified, especially these surgeons. Okay, they're terrified. Okay, because they know that their time's coming. These devils all know. All these people that went to church on Sunday and they were just thought they was the people of the Lord, and now they're finding out that they're not. And there's other reasons, why they killing themselves too. Why? Because, the whole thing with dealing with the fact that, the economy's screwed up, they're not being able to take care of their stuff, and all they care about is having enough money. So U.S. surgeons are killing themselves at an alarming rate. One decided to speak out. So let's see what she said. Karen Cunningham puffed out her cheeks and exhaled. She looked out at an audience filled with 2,000 of her peers, surgeons who were attending an annual meeting of the Association of Academic Surgery, a prestigious gathering of specialists from universities across the United States and Canada. So basically, Great Britain owns Canada, okay? Basically. And so Britain was there too. Basically. Cunningham, president of the organization, knew that she was about to reveal could cost her promotions, patience, and professional standing. So she took a deep breath. I was the top junior tennis player in the United States. She began. I am an associate professor of surgery at Harvard. So she's at the top of it. And she's starting to put out like, hey, man, this is something's not right here. Okay? Right? But I am also human. I am a person with lifelong depression, anxiety, and now a substance use disorder. See? And see, that's what's going on up there at the top. These people, you think these people living nice and living good because they got all that bread? Hell no. They plagued with demons. The room fell silent. See, this is her coming out with this, after it's been a while. You see? So Cunningham knew others in the room were struggling too. See? These people got all this bread, man. These people miserable, man. Doctors are dying by suicide higher rates in the general population. Somewhere between 300 and 400 physicians a year in the U.S. take their own lives, the equivalent of one medical school graduating class annually. Surgeons have some of the highest known rates of suicide amongst physicians. Why? Because they are physicians of no value, man, and they know that there's no value in this system. Okay, and it causes them to have depression. It causes them to have anxiety because when they go in there and they take that oath, they find out that these doctors are not trying to cure people, man. They're to sedate you and sedate the problem, but not fix it. So you have a disease and they just take away the pain. Eventually, that pain medicine makes it to where that medicine is not strong enough, and they got to give you more. That's why they had an opioid crisis. And then eventually that disease fights off all that medicine and evolves into something worse because it was never handled. You see, that's what this place is like, man. They killing people on purpose. So, it says the equivalent, like it says the physician, it says surgeons have some of the highest known rates of suicide among of physicians. Of 697 physician suicides reported in the CDC's National Violent Death Reporting System between 2003, 2017, 71 were surgeons. Many more go unreported. So just because we ain't hear about it don't mean that the Lord ain't bring across swift judgment to these people, man. Okay? Because they're doing things, that are not of the Lord. They're going against the ways of the Lord, which is what? Sedating Jake, making them take all these pills, got them doing all this other stuff. That's what we tell you, man. This stuff ain't no good. Okay? We used to be able to be healed by plants and herbs, but the Rockefellers outlawed that to where you couldn't use that stuff and you would lose your license. Okay, so this is why we know that this system is designed to kill Jake, man. But this is what the Lord's doing about it. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 20. Yep, okay. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 22. It says, "For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon, America Babylon the Great, the name and remnant, the remnant of them, and son and nephew, saith the Lord." And he's calling some of them to take their own self out, man. Okay? And well, I want to go back a verse. Okay? Verse 21, "Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers." Why? Because they are their forefathers. They got to pay for what they did. Remember, the son don't pay for the father's sins, and the father don't pay for the son's sins. So who's paying for their sin? Everybody paying for their own sins. And shalom to everybody come on the comment board, and whoever tuning in, Yahawah, Barak, Atham. So, the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Who don't fill the face of the world with cities? Who doesn't have their own land? Who doesn't have their own military? The Israelites. Us. Okay? We don't have none of that stuff, so the Lord's going to take them out for that, man. Okay? Because this is supposed to be, this world is supposed to be, under our rule. But it won't be until after Yahawashi comes back. He gave it over to them to do wickedness because we sinned against the Lord. Okay, but this was all part of prophecy. This had to play out like that. We couldn't go through much tribulation to enter into the kingdom of heaven unless we were in tribulation. Job chapter 27, verse 14, "If his children be multiplied," talking about Esau, Edom, and so-called white man, "it is for the sword," okay? And some of them taking their own self out. "And his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread." See, all that money they had, she still got depression. She still can't handle stuff. She got disorders. She using drugs, all types of stuff. You see? Because it's sorcery, man. And that's what's having these people do this kind of stuff. They not satisfied with bread. Why? Because they know that they done came and found out. Some of them probably done came and found out that all this is for nothing. And they going into slavery after that. And some of them just, they have that spirit of, they know this is vanity, man. And the Lord's making them feel that, like, everything you did don't mean nothing. You should just nothing. So I want to do Luke 21, verse 26. "Men's heart fell in them for fear." I want to just start at 25. We'll start at 25, but this is the point I want to get to, verse 26. So verse 25, "And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring," and there's distress. Okay, these people, committing suicide and whatnot, and all this other kind of stuff that's going on in the earth, man. Verse 26, "Men's hearts fell in them for fear," and also women, both. And that's kind of like your heart fell in you for fear. You just, put yourself to death. That's basically something like that. And then it's also like if you seen something so scary, you had a doggone heart attack. That's how it's going to be in Jacob's trouble. Some people going to see something so terrifying, going to have a heart attack, pass out, and die. And for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken from what? Intercontinental ballistic missiles. And don't nobody want to go through that. We don't want to go through that. They don't want to go through that. But guess what? That's what they get for messing with Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. That's what they get. And I was listening to Elder Apostle Ramla earlier, and it's not that it's everybody at the bottom's fault. It's the elite's fault. It's really their fault. But through them doing that, they whole nation got to pay. Okay, all of them got to pay for what they did, man. Just like us, we didn't have everybody in Israel doing wrong. We only had some of Israel doing wrong. Some were still doing right. But what? Our whole kingdom had to fall. We had to lose everything. So right here it says, "UN chief cites madness of nuclear arms race as North Korea warns of war." That's some big intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay? Them things is not small, man. That's what's coming. Them things is coming over here. So let's just read a little bit. "With nuclear-armed nations expanding and modernizing their arsenals," that Joel 3:10, beating their plowshares and the swords, the UN chief, United Nations chief, called for revitalized push to reduce and eventually eliminate those weapons. See, just like I was talking about in that movie, they want to eliminate weapons, man. They want to get rid of the same weapon that they used on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those two Japanese cities. They want to eliminate that because they know that it's for them. They getting them ready for them. So it says a worrisome new arms race is brewing. Okay, who's doing that? Yahawashi is doing that. He's getting these heathens to do that. The number of nuclear weapons could rise for the first time in decades. Guterres told the General Assembly on the final day of its yearly session. Any use of a nuclear weapon anytime, anywhere, in any context would unleash a humanitarian catastrophe of epic proportions, which is like what? American Babylon the Great being completely destroyed. Okay? Nuclear sabers are being rattled. This is madness. We must reverse course. And you can't turn back the ways of the Lord, whether you believe or not. The ways of the Lord, hey, this is going to go down. Okay? So this is Joel. You know, this is one of the best ways to show that there's nuclear weapons in the Bible. And right after that, it talks about how he tells them to beat their swords into plowshares and get them ready. But just before that, this is Joel chapter 2, verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, which is Israel. And that trumpet is the mouthpiece of the Lord, which is his men. The men that he called to do this work, which we know started with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, or we wouldn't even know that. And sound an alarm in my holy mountain, which is Israel. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. And this is why they're worrisome, because they the ones who actually took the Bible and put it in English and changed all the words. They know what it says. This is why they worried. You know, they're worried because it's looking like it said it was going to be. Verse 2: a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there have not been ever the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. Just like it said in Matthew, it'll never be a time like this again. And that darkness and gloominess is the mushroom clouds. A fire have devoured before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, which starts in the land of Israel, the land of Palestine. And that's where the battle of Armageddon is going to happen, that land of Israel. Okay? That's where it's going to be at. And there's going to be battles all across the world as well, but that particular battle is going to be for the land of Israel. And it's going to be destroyed. America, Babylon Great is going to be destroyed. Moab, so-called Chinese, China's going to get destroyed. There's a lot of places going to get hit. Okay? And behind them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them. That's them intercontinental ballistic missiles. An appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and of horsemen, and as horsemen, so shall they run. And when you come over here to Revelation, chapter 9, verse 16, these are those horses it's talking about. And it reads, in the number of the army of the horsemen, this is John the Revelator speaking, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. So that's where we get that word, that number, 200 million intercontinental ballistic missiles. And I heard the number of them, right? And what do? And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and in them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were the heads of lions. You know, when it shoots up in the sky, the warhead detaches and it comes out, and then you got the little mini warhead, and those split out and be a whole bunch of different bombs. Okay, that's what it's talking about. And out of their mouths issued fire, smoke, and brimstone. They didn't know what an intercontinental ballistic missile was. That's why even Daniel said, I can't understand what you're talking about, Lord. Well, I don't understand this vision. He said, just shut it up in the book. You're gonna come back to the kingdom and rest for a little bit. You're gonna come back to the Heavenly Father, and you're gonna sleep for a little bit, which means die. Your spirit gonna rest, and then you're gonna come back at the end of the days to see what? The downfall of the kingdoms, and to receive your inheritance for living and putting your life down for Yahawashi. Okay, that's what's finna happen, man. Okay, this place is finna be through. So now we're gonna go to Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. When you read more into Joel chapter 2, verse 2, it talks about how they're not going to break their ranks. They got basically showing like they got GPS systems on them and stuff, man. They're not going to run into each other, and they're going to hit where they're supposed to go. They will not return in vain. They're going to hit all of them. Isaiah chapter 54, verse 6. For the Lord have called thee. Hold on. Isaiah 54, verse 16. Yeah. Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I have created the waster to destroy. That's some intercontinental ballistic missiles. Isaiah 13:5 says the same thing. Isaiah 13, verse 5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven. They coming from where? They coming from the east. That's why we always pray from the east, because that's where Bahasham and Yahawashi going to be coming from the east. Okay, when we see him come out in the glory of the sun, and everybody see him, it's going to be from the east, man. So they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. See, it's going to destroy everything in America, Babylon the Great, and other places in the four corners of the earth. You know, and you know, there's also other scriptures that show that we face the east to pray, but we're not gonna get into it. Got a little bit more, and then we'll be out of here. This is right here. It says, a jealous God, China remakes religions in its own image. So now we got over here's Moab making their own religions. Okay, authorities are violating religious freedoms across China as the leadership seeks to assert control. But who else did this? America, Babylon the Great did this. They went and they made their own religion in their own image, okay, which is Jesus Christ. And what did it say about China? They wanted to, it talked about how they wanted to commit whoredoms with America, Babylon the Great, okay, in Second Esdras, okay, and this is them doing it. They want to be just like America, Babylon the Great to gain what? Control. That's what America, Babylon the Great did with the Bible. They did that to gain control. Okay, the religion, one of those three evil spirits. One of them is religion, the other one's military power, and the other one's money. And they put them together to control the masses. Okay, so, you know, a little bit, but you know, you can get the point that they're trying to change it. But, you know, we'll see what it says. When the Pope is on official business, it is customary for him to send a greeting from the papal aeroplane to the heads of the state of the country he flies over. As Pope Francis' plane cruised above China on September 1st, and en route of Mongolia for the first papal visit in history, the head of the Catholic Church dispatched a telegram to the Chinese President Xi Jinping, in which he extended well wishes to Xi and the Chinese people, Moab, right? And but let's read a little bit more. Below, in the eastern Chinese city of Fuzhou, 58-year-old restaurant owner Teresa Liu was praying for the Pope's safe arrival to Mongolia. All these prayers don't mean shit. He is not a young man, so I'm praying for him to have a smooth journey and arrive in good health. Okay, whatever. Liu describes herself as devout Chinese Catholic, right? She would have liked to travel to Mongolia, as some Chinese Catholics did, but the workload at her Sichuan, not how you say that, Slovakia, inspired restaurant and Fuzhou did not allow her to go. Besides, I'm not afraid to visit for the purpose of seeing the Pope would get me in trouble with the Chinese government, right? So 2 people are allegedly detained by the Chinese authorities for organizing a group of pilgrimage to China, to Mongolia, in connection with the Pope's visit. And, you know, it's just kind of show, like it says, the government is trying to control everything about our religion, how our churches look, how our priests are, the way we say, and the way we pray. But who did that to Israel? These Edomites, man. Okay, this is showing that the Lord is, you know, using their own people to put, you know, they starting to get a taste of their own medicine. Okay, it's a false belief anyways. But you got Moab over there trying to make their own Bible. Man, I don't know how they gonna do that, but whatever. Y'all better off just waiting to get blown up like everybody else and stop being weird. Isaiah chapter 45 verse 5. And it reads, I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no power beside me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me. That's talking about us who come into this truth. Lord willing, we stay there in that truth, and the Lord doesn't cast us out. Okay? So this is enough to know that there ain't no so-called Chinese Bible or so-called Chinese God who's going to come down and save everybody. Like, this is retarded. Isaiah chapter 45 verse 6. They may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, Yahawashi, and there is none else. There's not no other gods, man. And they talking about they gonna make a whole another Bible. Oh, so y'all just gonna make a 2023 revised Bible, and that's what you want us to follow? All right, well, that's showing you these people is just, they scrambling. Okay, they scrambling to try to keep the elect asleep, man. Because some of the elect look like so-called Chinese. Okay, and once they wake up, and some of them could be part of the elect, and they wake up and they get sealed in this truth because the Lord doesn't let them here. It's over with. There ain't no stopping the elect from waking up. They're going to wake up. Isaiah chapter 43 verse 10. Ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, Yahawashi, and my servant whom I have chosen. Right? And we pray to be a part of that number who was chosen. That ye may know and believe me. And we do. But we got to do it to the end. That's how we going to know. And understand that I am he. Before me there was no power formed, neither shall there be after me. So there's never been another power, man. There's nothing been a better power. But what they're trying to do is this. Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. And it reads, and this is Yahawashi speaking, for there shall arise false Mashiachs, which is Mashiach, which is Christ in Paleo Hebrew, which means anointed, the anointed ones, and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So it's not even possible to deceive the elect. They're gonna wake up. They're gonna be like, no, something's weird. I'm not liking this, and they're gonna come out of it. So this is Acts chapter 4 verse 12, and it reads, neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men. It can't be two different names. It's got to be one, which we know is just Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, among men, whereby we must be saved. So we know that whatever they put in that book, we don't even got to read it, because it's going to get you destroyed if you try to believe in that. Psalm chapter 1 verse 15 verse 4, and it says, their idols are silver or gold, the work of men's hands. And this is why when we tell the elders and apostles, they tell us to stay away from 2/3, because they're basically mini idols. Okay, just walking around. Just not everybody worships them. They just worship themselves, but they're basically mini idols walking around the ground. Idol worshiping things that they shouldn't worship. Things with silver and gold. That's why they put silver and gold on all these celebrities and make people worship them for the money they got. Okay, they're just idols walking around, waiting to be destroyed. Verse 5, they have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. And these idols, man, but it's also resembling the 2/3 of our people too. They can't understand nothing spiritually. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. They can't get nothing. They can't sense danger. They can't nothing. Okay, all in the spirit. They basically just a dead idol. Okay, mini idols, right? And they take the best mini idols and they put money on them and make everybody worship them. That's where you get your celebrities from. Verse 7, they have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they through their throat. Verse 8, they that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that trusted in them. So they're all just basically mini idols walking around. And that's why they say, though, you can't trust 2/3. They don't have spirit like us. They don't move like us. They don't work like us. They don't believe in the Lord. So we got to make sure that we not around these people as much as possible. First John chapter 5 verse 21. Little children, keep yourselves from idols. Amen. It's simple. He's telling us simply and plain to keep ourselves from people who are contrary to the doctrine. It's very simple, and it'll save you a lot of trouble. So now we're going to go over here, and we're going to see something a little bit about these whistleblowers. It says dozens of whistleblowers inside U.S. intelligence come forward reducing UAP stigma. Okay? So new reports surface government whistleblowers providing testimony in the Pentagon, IG, and Congress. Now I want to go look up this word real quick because this is a very important word to know. Stigma. Okay. See? Hold on.
Stigma.
It says a mark of disgrace associated with particular circumstance, quality, or person. So this is how it was us as people going around, the people in the truth going around talking about the chariots and they're real, which are the so-called UFOs. They look at us in disgrace like you're a nut, you're crazy, right? But really they're the ones that they know these is real, okay? But they're now starting to come across and really put it out there like, yeah, this is real, okay? They're real. Okay, providing testimonies and whatnot, but every time they try to provide testimonies, they're forgers of lies. So they're going to put in something that's not contrary to the doctrine of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. So we'll just look at a little bit of it and show you what they say that they look like, but we're going to show you what the Bible says they look like. Because if they knew what they look like, they wouldn't be telling it. They'd just be terrified and be like, we can't tell nobody about this. So where was it at? It said something about they seen, hold on, I want to just pull up one little spot. I don't want to read a lot of it. But it said when you look into it, it talks about they seen like they look like triangles, but they don't look like triangles. Okay, we're going to show it in the scriptures. They don't look like triangles. But, let me see if I can find it. Let me just start at the top, see if I can find it. According to the public journalist Michael Schellenberger's news venue, at least 30 whistleblowers who work for the U.S. federal government or for U.S. federal contract agency have provided testimony in the last few months, knowing that the information was given under protective closure regarding UAP sightings, which they're talking about the chariots, the so-called UFOs, crash. And they ain't gonna crash. They're way more advanced than anything on the planet. They're not gonna crash. Okay? It doesn't have to stop by 7-Eleven to get gas. It's not gonna crash. Retrieval and reverse engineering a triangular shaped craft. See, they're talking about they seeing triangles. No, that's not what they look like. Okay? It's not what they look like. But they're trying to say over here, at the same time, it says chilling footage of orbs flying around military aircraft released by U.S. Border Patrol. See? They're like orbs, okay? Like a wheel inside of a wheel. That's really what they look like. Okay? And we're going to show that in the scriptures. Now, I don't want to get too much into it. Don't really need to watch the videos. I'm just going to get into it. So this is Ezekiel. Chapter 1, verse 1. I'm going to just read a little bit of it to kind of explain what they look like. Now, we know they're not going to look like triangles. They're going to look like this. They're going to look like an Esau-Edom meat grinder. They're not going to look like nothing that we've seen on the planet. Now, it came to pass in the 13th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, I was among the captives of the river of Chebar, the ones that we were in captivity, and the heavens were opened, and I saw the visions of the Most High. In the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of King Jeroboam's captivity, The word of the Lord came expressly to Ezekiel the priest and the son of Buzzy. Buzzy, I think it's Buzzy, how you say that. In the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chabar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. I'm talking about a chariot, a great cloud. See, they can disguise themselves as clouds too. And a fire holding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof was a color of amber, out of the midst of the fire, and out of the midst of them came like the likeness of 4 living creatures. This was their appearance, and had the likeness of a man, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. Their feet were straight, and their sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. And these are the vehicles of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. The angels are in those. Okay? And they had the hands of a man under the wings, under the 4 sides, and they had their 4 faces in their wings. So there's 4 sides. It's not a damn triangle. Their wings are joined one to another, and they turned not when they went, and went everyone straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they had day 4 had the face of a man and the face of a lion, and on the right side and day 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and the 4 also the face of an eagle. And when you read down more, see if I can find it when I get to the point. Right here. Verse 16, the appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto a color of beryl. So I'm talking about they're like orbs. And they have 4, and they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Okay? So it looks like a wheel inside a wheel with 4 sides on it. It doesn't look like a triangle. So if they try to do their little project, blue beam, whatever crap to try to make it seem like the chariots are coming, if they don't look like this, if they don't look in depth like this, like it's not a Lord. And we know that Yahawah Yahawashi is coming in a huge fathership. He's going to come in one big chariot, and they have some pictures of it. When you see it, they had some pictures. NASA had pictures of it. Okay, they had a video of it, and it was bigger than the whole earth, and it looked like a wheel inside of a wheel, and inside the wheel it had like 4 sides, just like it says. But I don't have the video on me right now, but now I want to read this. This is how we know that these is going to be how we get out of here. Revelation chapter 11, verse 12. And it reads, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up into heaven in a cloud, a chariot. And the enemies beheld them. So we're hoping that we're part of that number who can make it out of here when them chariots come down. Okay? And it's gonna be one big chariot. It's gonna be Bahasham Yahawashi. He's gonna be pulling up. That's what we know for sure. There might be other little chariots and whatnot. We've seen a lot of those in the sky. They might come down, start beaming people out of the sky or whatever. But we will all be ascended up to that big fathership chariot. That's what's going to happen. Okay, Lord willing, we part of that number. So now we're going to deal with this. This is my last article. Put in a couple precepts and then we out of here. Agriculture Secretary warns of food shortages for millions with government shutdown. So here comes the famine. It's coming. Okay, they said this 25th. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack warned Monday that extreme Republican government shutdown next week could cause nearly 7 million low-income women and children and their food benefits through supplemental food stamps for women, infants, and children. So this is for people who are living off Esau Edom. They're going to be affected. Okay, so this is something that's serious. We're talking about this is coming in like 4 days. Okay. Now they're trying to talk about they're going to have some spending budget to where it doesn't shut down, with the WIC and all this. But we know that the Lord is going to do this. America Babylon the Great is on life support, okay? This place is going to come down. So whether it happens next week or they try to save it for a little bit, it's not going to matter. You know, you got to start getting prepared to not have this stuff right now. Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 16. You got to start getting yourself ready and putting yourself in a position where you might have to go out without food for a little bit. Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 16. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, which is basically us, because we're scattered across the four corners of the earth. Wherever we're at, there's going to be famine, which is where? Everywhere. Doesn't mean there's going to be no food, but there's going to be a shortage of food. Okay? And they shall eat bread by weight. See? There's still going to be food around. And with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment. Okay? And when you go over one precept over, the Lord was very, very specific about telling Ezekiel about the staff of bread being broken. So, let's go back. I want to start at 14. Moreover, I will make thee waste and a reproach among the nations that are round about thee, in all the sight of that pass by. And that's what happened. That's what happened right now. They're looking at us as a reproach. Okay, but it's coming to the point to where 2/3 is going to get the worst of this. Okay, they're looking at us as a reproach, but the Lord said that if you please the Lord, He'll make your enemies be at peace with you. So the Lord is like, He's putting us through trials still, but He's not really jacking us up like He is 2/3. And some of them, He just keeping them comfortable so He can judge them to their face. So verse 15, it shall be a reproach and a taunt and an instruction and an astonishment unto the nations that are round about thee, when I shall execute judgments in thee in anger and my fury and furious rebukes. I, the Lord, have spoken it. And that's what's going to happen, you know, whenever that comes to that time. You know, He's going to execute judgments, you know, on these people, and furious rebukes on 2/3 in these people. And He's going to use Israel, okay? Those 144,000 elect men, right? So verse 16, when I shall send upon them evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction, and which I will send to destroy you. And this is what it's talking about, the 2/3 now. This happened to us, though. This happened to all of Israel. And I will increase the famine upon you, and I'll break your staff of bread. That's what we know is coming this time. We know it's coming this time because He told the prophets last time when we went through it. You know, and we pray to be part of those prophets who are back to receive that reward for dealing with all that tribulation that we went through. This is Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 13. Son of man, when the land sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, who's doing that? 2/3. I will stretch out my hand upon it, and I will break the staff of the bread thereof. And I will send famine upon it, and I will cut off man and beast from it. And that's what He's doing. This government shutdown could well be, you know, something that a lot of Jakes is going to deal with, especially the ones who don't, you know, they don't have, you know, the women that don't have men that's working and putting themselves in a position to be able to take care of them. So Lamentations chapter 4, verse 9, and men that ain't working. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 9, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that are slain with hunger. For these pine away stricken through for the want of the fruits of the field. See? So it's better to get slain with a damn sword than die by famine, because it's a slow, very, very painful death. Okay, and those are the ones the Lord really wanted to go through some pain. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 28. Read a little bit of this, and then I'm out of here. From verse 28, for of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and the clefts of the rocks. This is what it's going to be like during Jacob's trouble, man. As an orchard of olives upon every tree, there are left 3 or 4 more olives. 3 or 4 olives. There's going to be not a lot of food left. As when the vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. You got going to have some people looking for the food. Verse 31, even so in those days there should be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. So it's going to be, you know, some Edomites that's wicked as hell, and they searching, you know, through to get whatever they can. And don't think they ain't going to be some cannibals. There's going to be some cannibals. That's why we got to make sure that we got the spirit and power of Yahawashi around us so we don't get caught up in all that. Verse 32, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. And that's what's coming. And we've been warning and warning and warning. Now, I want to get these precepts. The elder, Salakia, big bro. I didn't even see you put that in there. Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 16. Like I was saying, the appearance of the wheels in their work was like the color of beryl, and they four had one likeness in their appearance, and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. That's what we was talking about earlier. The water. Big bro. So, Shalom. Yahawashi Barak. I didn't even see you was here till now. This is Zechariah chapter 5, verse 1. Then I turned, lifted up my eyes, and behold, and looked, and behold, a flying roll. That's talking about them chariots, so-called chariots, or the so-called UFOs. Verse 2. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. Not a triangle. Okay, so when we see that kind of stuff, and they try to be like, come out and be like, well, we've seen these UFOs, just know they're going to say they don't look like they are in the Bible. Sometimes they do that just to try to upset prophecy, okay, and get Jake not to believe and say, well, it said in the Bible, it don't look like that. Well, okay, that means that they're lying. So, Lord willing, is edifying to the flock. Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian Haitians, and the foreign Israelites that look like the other nations scattered across the four corners of the earth. Want to give all praise to Barak, Yahawah, Barak, Yahawashi, Barak, Yahawah, Barak, Yahawashi. Got to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone, who led me to this truth and been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the elect and to the hopeful elect. Lord willing, we part of that number. Lord willing, is be edifying to those who fear the name of the Lord and are striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. This judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5. It is not slack. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. And it's unto a ring. 2 Peter chapter 5, verse 42. Wa abab abal. The water for everybody tuning in. Yahawashi Atham. May the blessing of the election be upon your households. Stay prayed up. As the big brothers always say. And Lord willing, we'll be able to exalt the name of Yahawashi yet another day. Wa abab abal. Shalom. Kwam Yasharallah.